My name is Carol Ofori. I am a media personality. I have a radio show on East Coast Radio, a television show called Raising Babies on SABC2, and I also am a podcaster with the Carol Ofori podcast that's available on all podcasting networks. I'm an author. I've written 6 beautiful children's books that are available at all big stores as well as on Amazon, which is an exciting venture for me. And I'm also the co-founder of ratingsforschools.co.za. That is our really amazing disruptor of a website. It is a school finding portal, and it's really changed the landscape of school finding and also interaction between schools and parents. So yes, overall, those are the main projects I'm involved in. I'm also an MC and a facilitator. Geez, I always say when it comes to looking back at my achievements, it's always so awkward having to walk back and say, I've done this, I've done this, I've done that, because I've done so many incredible things that I think I don't celebrate enough. I think obviously the most recent would be being a Disney character with Disney Plus. Disney came out with a beautiful African animation series, and I get to play the character of Manomi on Disney. Like, it's still wild to think that I'm a Disney character. I've also won the International Savas Award for my voice work, which is literally the Oscars of the voice world. So to have a statue in South Africa that was brought here by me is just completely humbling. The books themselves are, I marvel over, the fact that I dreamed of something that I wanted to do for my kids. And now these books are all over the world, people buying them. There's so much interest. They're only just over a year old being on the shelves, and the interest is just spiking every day. So yeah, there's just so many beautiful achievements that I've accomplished in my life that I look back and I'm proud, but I'm also like, wow, is it you? Is it really you? And for me, the sky's not even the limit. Like, the sky is just the foundation. There's more to it. I think space is probably more touching limit vibes, yeah. So my books are called The African Adventures of Senna and Katlego. It's a 6-book series available at all leading bookshops. As I mentioned, you can buy them online on Amazon, you can get them from tagalog.com. They're really, really accessible. And the story of the book started with me having a little baby boy. His name is Senna, which means God gives. And I'm married to this incredible Ghanaian man. I'm South African, so as a family, we're Pan-African. So I wanted books that would depict Africa for my kids, and they could literally just have these imaginary friends across the continent and explore and taste and eat and heritage and everything. And they just didn't exist. So I decided I was going to write them. And so I wrote them. To cut a long story short, we shopped them around. Lingua Franca, a lovely black female-owned publisher, said, Carol, we love the books and we're going to stick behind you. And I said, okay, I want to do like 10. And they were like, okay, let's just hold on. You're a first-time author. It's our first time publishing with you. How about 6? And I was like, listen, I was taking my chances at 10, but 6 is a done deal. So we visit 6 countries. Each book tells a different story from each country. So we go to Ghana, we go to South Africa, we go to Chad, we go to Eswatini, we go to Egypt, and we go to Uganda. So those are the 6 countries. I was quite intentional about choosing those particular countries because I wanted to visit every corner of the continent, representing North, South, East, and West Africa. And then I also didn't want to give away like with the big giants. I left Nigeria out, I left Kenya out, I left Morocco out because I wanted the publishers to come back for more. So I was very strategic with that. I think it was a long, long journey. I'm so happy, so happy. I didn't take any shortcuts in any way that I've accomplished things. So in my radio career, I got my BA journalism degree from back then was RAW. I worked as a journalist, as a reporter for Eyewitness News. Now it's called, back then it was just 702 and 94.7 back then. Now it's 947 in Johannesburg. And I was a reporter, and I started there as an intern and literally cut my teeth in the news world. I worked for magazines, writing. I've always had a knack and a love for writing. And then found myself falling into the on-air radio side, which is the mic on, speak, and you are the glue that keeps the whole thing together, from news to traffic to all these things. And, it's been a journey. I've worked on almost every show you can think of outside of your daytime slots, right? So I've done your overnight. So I've cut my teeth. in radio. And then, of course, now I'm doing 9 to 12, which is a really beautiful, show. So that's the media element. I've done some television, as I mentioned, with the talk show. That's a baby talk show, very, very enlightening TV talk show. And then the books, all of these things have come over years of being in the broadcasting space and sort of feeling where I want to be and what I want to represent. And there's no templates in this business. We are freelancers, as one would say. So there's no template. You kind of find your own way with your own brand at your own time. And the more you get an opportunity to cut your teeth, I feel the more you can call yourself a master at what you do. I think I'm inspired by just wanting to succeed. I think most people are fearful of failure. So I just want to succeed. I'm a child today. I can sit and say I've done all these wonderful things, but I don't come from a rich background. My mom worked very hard to put us through school. She had a husband who didn't really play much of a role in our upbringing. My dad, as much as I love him, I have to really give the credit where the credit is due, and it was mom doing it. I moved to Johannesburg. I was around 4 years old. And the first encounter I had with schooling in Johannesburg outside of creche was going to a convent, St. Catherine's Convent. And this convent was a good hour and a half, away from where I lived, because I was living in Soweto at the time. And, we'd take the bus every morning and every afternoon to get to and from school. And I think it's that experience where you're sitting in a bus and you're traveling for an hour and a half after school, where your peers literally stay across the road or can walk home or are picked up by mom and dad, where you realize you have to just work a lot harder because the challenges are harder, right? So you get home 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're exhausted, you've been on the bus the whole day, but you still have to produce the results, you still have to do your homework. Sports days where I'm running and I'm coming first and I look into the crowd and my parents are not there because they're at work and it's a weekday and they can't get off work because, the jobs they do. I think that's what propelled me to always want to work harder and do my best, because I didn't have it all. I've had to work for everything that I have. And I'm grateful that I could look at my mom who literally built herself from nothing to an absolute success. And she did so before us. So we could see the challenges, we could see the accomplishments. So that's what drives me, just wanting to always just not fail and do well. Challenges are, as one lady I interviewed on the radio said, she said, challenges must never be the obstacle. They are the road and the path to greatness. And I think when they come along, you quiver, right? So I look at something like Ratings for Schools, which I co-founded with my husband, which is a school finding portal. In the world of business, competitors come along, people who wake up one day and just mimic your idea come along. And these challenges are, scary when they happen, right? You're like, how does someone just come in and look at our template and then just redo it, and not even as good, and then think they can compete? But it's always about, staying centered in what we wanted to do. And we've always known we've done what we've done with a lot of heart and with a really, thin, fine tooth comb to comb through everything to make sure that we do it perfectly. And that's where you'll be different from competitors, is where you take things and you do them with passion, you do them with interest, and you do it for the greater good. When we launched the website, we're not planning to make money out of the website. We just moved to a new city and we needed a portal to find schools, and it didn't exist. So we created it. So in the Ratings for Schools, I think in the business space, it's just, you're always nervous, you're always worried about competitors and what they're doing. And we've learned that just focusing on what we're doing has just always seen us grow faster and move forward. And in the media space, challenges are every day. Media as a whole is just such a challenging space. We work with so many different elements, from COVID coming and hitting us in the middle of things, and the political landscape changing, the economy always morphing. And you just have to stay steadfast in where you're going, what you want to accomplish, and the challenges become the word puzzle that you need to get through life. So they're necessary to know what you stand for and what you want. Oh my gosh, I see myself. It's very hard. I think I look as far as like 6 months. Only because I like to think of things that are attainable, that I can see and I can map it that it's going to happen in the next 6 months. So realistically, I work on 6 months and what I can accomplish within 6 months. But obviously, ideally, in the next, let's say, 3 years and not go too far on 5. I just see so many other things coming. I see more children's books. I definitely see Ratings for Schools being a household name. You know, Ratings for Schools.co.za has got such an exciting future. I cannot wait for where it's going. And it's something that, I'm so proud of, my husband and I coming up with this project and also being able to work together as family. It's crazy. I think we have a better business relationship than we do a married one, which is quite interesting. But yeah, so I see a great future for Ratings for Schools. I see a great future for me in the broadcasting and media space, and definitely more books and just more and more and another more for that matter. I think the most important advice is to always know your picture of where you're going. And sometimes you'll share that story and people won't see the vision. But you have to remember the picture you've drawn and where you're going with it. Because I find sometimes a lot of young people rely on mentors, rely on other people's opinion, and it does sometimes derail you from where you really want to go. So take the advice, take the feedback, take the criticism, take everything, but don't let it cloud where you are going. Listen, I got 2 small children, so relaxing and unwind, if I can just get a glass of red wine and me time, I am in my element. I do enjoy massages. Shout out Mangwanani. I love massages. I love being pampered. I also love eating out and trying different foods. I just like nice things, shopping. Typical girl. Typical girl. I'll relax in all those spaces I've just mentioned. I think it's important to highlight women doing amazing things because as much as many will say, why specifically highlight women? I think we get so clogged up in our roles outside of business that when we are celebrated, when we are singled out, it really helps other young women who are coming after us to say, wow, she can also do that. And she's a mom, and she's a wife, and she's looking after her ailing mom, or she's, become a caregiver to her sister's children when her sister passed. She's doing it all. And we can only see that when we see women that look like us doing these things. And I mean that by all different women from different walks of life, from different race groups, from different religious backgrounds, tall, short, chubby, thin. When we see all these women as physical representations of their accomplishments, it encourages so many women. It's one thing to see a woman with, the perfect body, with her briefcase, hair is perfect, being picked up in a limousine, got a driver. That's a great image. But there's also that woman that may be plus size, that doesn't have her fashion together, but is kicking butt in whatever industry she's in. And a child who also looks like that, sees her, it gives that child hope. That shouldn't be a barrier to entry. What I look like should not be a barrier to entry. And that speaks the same of different racial groups, etc. So it's so important we highlight and we magnify women doing incredible things because as much as we might think that we've moved past seeing women in the kitchen, if we just negate the situation and just say, we don't need this, that's the image that we're going to start having all over again. And we are way more than that.